7:15 on September 28th, this Carroll City Council meeting will come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the roll call show all council members are present except Councilman Fleischner. We will begin with the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the September 14th meeting and approval of bills and claims.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Kotz?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Do we have any oral requests or communications from the audience tonight on matters that are not already on the agenda? Then hearing none, we are going to move into the agenda. And one of the things that I do want to move on the agenda up just a little bit is the FEMA Assistance to Firefighter grant, as Chief Schreck needs to get out to the firefighter meeting coming up this evening, and he's got some information that we need to get accomplished so he can get on to that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that meeting tonight, just as a little heads up for the council and community, we're beginning to stuff our envelopes and things for the Fireman's Dance, which will be coming up in November. So we're going to start Friday with the businesses downtown, and then the following Monday nights will be in the residential areas. So kind of keep that in mind, and I appreciate being moved up here with this request. Okay, the FEMA Assistance Firefighter Grant, this really formalizes the process, but the Carroll Fire Department has recently applied for and received a grant from the FEMA Assistance Firefighter Grant Program in the amount of $42,500. And this request was to replace the department's 20-plus-year-old breathing air compressor. These are kind of specialized pieces of equipment. They pump up to 6,000 PSI, and you can't buy them like at a local hardware store or anything like that. It provides purified air that we fill our breathing air cylinders for. So that's what this will be to replace. And this amount does require a local match of 5%, or in this case, $2,023. And this amount will fit in the fiscal year 15-16 fire department budget. So. The officers and department, we have decided on a Bauer Unicus 6,000 PSI two-position fill station, which the fill stations that we put the bottles in as we're filling them, now we're kind of at risk if one should happen to explode. It doesn't happen that often, but does. There's no protection for the firefighter. In this case, it will have like an enclosed vault that closes and locks that would contain any cylinder that should happen to explode. So. It's my intent to, we have bid specifications pretty well put together, so I want to solicit bids in early October, and hopefully the project will be completed by December. I'd also like to thank Region 12 and Sam Parker for their assistance in this grant, so that was greatly appreciated with those folks. So my recommendation for council would be is a motion to accept the FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant in the amount of $40,477 and approve the local match of $2,023 for the compressor replacement project.
Hey, does the underwater search and recovery team still use the?
Yes, they do. Yep, and this will be specified. That's a little higher grade of breathing air that it has to meet for specification, so it'll be used for that also.
Super.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief? We love the fact that most of the time you really have been able to reach out and secure some funding on these things. It keeps the fire department operating at a low cost but with very excellent equipment, and that's what we want for our volunteers.
Yeah, we apply for a grant every year, and I think in 2004 we were successful then. We apply every year, so it was nice to kind of stay persistent in applying for these grants. We got this one, so we're happy about that.
We're good.
I move to accept the motion as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Kotz?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Now we'll jump back up to the top, and we just have one ordinance this evening, Railroad Warning Signals Ordinance Update. And Randy.
I think Laura was.
Oh, I actually
Laura.
did this, yes.
Okay, very good.
Our current city ordinance states and has a requirement on the sounding of the horns in city limits, which references state code. We received notification from our codification company that we work with, Iowa Codification, stating that that section of the state code actually was repealed in this last legislature session, largely due to the fact that trains are regulated by the federal government. And so any reference that we had here in the city code doesn't matter, that they have to follow what the federal government says. So since the Iowa legislature repealed that section, it's in our best interest probably to repeal our section as well. So that's what the ordinance before you tonight is, to repeal that section of our city code.
Okay. So ultimately, just removing us from possible any liability, and ultimately, we're already removed from the liability, we're just kind of cleaning up the code verbiage.
Yeah, city has no authority in this arena. It's the federal government. As Laura said, we are preempted from providing any stricter horn requirements other than what the federal government provides. Laura also said the state eliminated or decodified their code section too, which was very similar to what we have in our local code. So it's a preemption. We can't do what we want to do in our own code now.
This won't actually change anything, though, from what we experience with train horns or anything here in town. It's just lining up our code to...
Yeah, the new federal regulation is, I believe it's 15 seconds before you get to the intersection, a grade intersection. They require 2 long blasts on their horn, followed by a short one, and then another long blast prior to that 15 seconds before getting to the intersection. So,
Which unfortunately for us starts at about the country club and ends about Walmart.
And vice versa.
Okay.
yeah.
Very good. Well, with that, I need a motion to approve I first need a motion to introduce and waive all 3 readings of the attached ordinance repealing section 81.02, warning signals.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second to waive all 3 readings. Cotts?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Tate?
Yeah.
Haley?
Yes.
That motion is approved.
Now I need a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Jensen?
Yes.
Cotts?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Tate?
Yeah.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Next up are resolutions, and first up is the abandonment release of sewer line easement, and for this, we have David.
Thank you, Mayor. This occurs, we think, about once every 47 years, something like this. But back in 1968, there was an easement granted to the city on, at that time, what was 80 acres of land. Randy Kroll has done some research, and there is just a sliver of this 80 acres that we use for sanitary sewer easement. The rest of the 80 acres is unaffected by any sort of easement. How this came to our attention is there's a piece of property on the east side of Carroll on Highway 30 that's being sold. It's presently about 1.5 acres, but it's presently being sold, and it originally was contained in that 80-acre large parcel that an easement was granted over the entire thing. So anyway, the attorney for the buyer said, hey, this just kind of looks weird. We would like to have the city remove, of course, there's no easement on this property, never will be. But the attorney said, of the public record, it appears that there could be or might be an easement on this 1.5 acres of land. So what we're doing is simply kind of clearing the public record, so to speak, acknowledging that we don't have an easement on this particular piece of land.
The 80 acres.
The 1.5 acres.
Oh, 1.5,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So all we're doing is, well, first of all, I'm asking you to pass a resolution setting up a public hearing for the next council meeting, which would be the 12th. And at that point in time, we'll pass a resolution that we simply abandoned this easement that really isn't on this 1.5 acres of land that's being sold right now. So,
Okay.
If that's not confusing enough, is there any
Someone wants to
questions?
develop this into housing area or needs a sewer line, they would have to come back and ask for
Well,
city sewer?
nope, all we're doing is eliminating our easement
Right,
from this
right.
1.5 acres.
That I get,
Yeah,
but
okay.
down the road, if this particular property owner decides to change their mind or it gets sold again and they want sanitary sewer in there,
They
they
presently,
would have to reapply for?
they presently do, and Randy can.
They do
can
have it
fill-
then,
Fill me
okay.
in. They presently do have a sanitary sewer system
Okay,
at this location. And it's by right of way.
okay.
There's a right of
all right.
way.
There's a right of way there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's serviced by sanitary sewer.
Okay. Any other questions for David or Randy? Then I would need a motion to set a public hearing for October 12th at 5:15 on a proposed abandonment with the suggestion to release any sanitary sewer line easement over the property described as Lot 2 of re-subdivision of Outlot A, Nichols First Edition to Carroll, Carroll County, Iowa.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Tate?
Yeah.
Cott?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our second resolution is the Water Supply Wells 7 transmission main improvements. And Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. In an effort to further define the source of the nitrates that were discovered in the water test well program earlier, we dug or drilled 2 additional test wells. Actually, they were located westerly of where the nitrates were originally found. The additional drilling was performed by our contractor, Cahoy Pump Company, the contractor for the test well program, and it fits into just an addition to that contract. So that will just be additional expenditure under that Cahoy contract. But the test well drilling was directed and analyzed by a subconsultant to JEO, who we have a contract with. The company is a hydrogeologist called LBG, LGB, excuse me. No, LBG. They are currently under contract, subcontract with JEO. Now JEO has requested a change to their scope of services to add the additional services of LBG. And that was in the amount of $3,300. So we've included a change of scope of services with your memorandum that adds that $3,300 to the original JEO professional services agreement. That brings the total agreement to $332,235. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend approval of the resolution adding the change to scope of services to our professional services agreement.
Okay. Any questions additional to Randy? Water well transmission, how are things moving along?
And moving pretty well. The transmission contract portion of it is within about 100 feet of being in the ground, complete. Of course, after that, there's some connections to be made, cleaning, disinfecting, and all that. The well project is underway. The wells, of course, are drilled. The dirt work or grading work is completed as of today. So the next step on those is construction of the buildings for the wells and the installation of the electrical power service. So there's some work yet to be done on the well contract part of it.
As far as the external construction-related work, I mean, are we looking pretty good in terms of weather? I mean, we don't know when the snow's going to actually fly and when the freeze is going to hit, but are we feeling pretty good considering the wet weather we've experienced?
Pretty well, yes. Of course, if the site work can be completed here in the good weather, building construction can extend into a little more inclement weather, and we're trying to arrange that to happen, yes.
Okay.
So that they're online by spring.
All right. Any other questions for Randy on this one? Then I need a motion to approve the resolution for change to scope of services, approval form number 3 for the water supply well and transmission main improvements professional services agreement.
So, second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Tate? Haley?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our third resolution is Merchants Park Baseball Stadium renovations, and Jack.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight you have a resolution approving the Community Attraction and Tourism Grant application for Merchants Park Baseball Stadium renovation. Chris Whitaker with Region 12 is here. He's the one that will be submitting the application for $150,000. The application is due October 15th, and this would hopefully help offset some of the costs for the renovation project.
Excellent.
Motion to approve the grant application.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Tate?
Yeah.
Cox?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
While we've got you guys here, how are things coming along?
Well, the next big item Jack will be talking about in a second will be the demolition by the prisoners from Rockwell City. We want to get that done this fall, this winter, and that'll then help us in our putting together the bid documents again later in the year. So,
All right. Then with that, Jack, you want to move right into the Merchants Park Stadium Professional Services Agreement with Shive Hattery?
Yes, this is amendment number 2 for this project. The first amendment was to get Shive Hattery to draw up the ticket booth and the maintenance garage that we're moving forward on. This one, after the committee came together with us to discuss the volunteers, that was one of the big things in the bid that was the unknown, and they thought it was very labor intense and really drew up the cost for the bid, was tearing out of the walls, tearing out of the floors. The committee's done a good job talking to the prisoners and the group up there in Rockwell City to bring them down to help with some of the demolition. And as far as the city behalf, we thought 2 things. One, have Shive Hattery here just to, make sure that they're tearing out walls that need to be tearing out from the drawings that they've had. And also, they're going to have to change the drawings before we go out to bid again. This is a change in the engineering, so they'll have to redraw up some of the plans. And then once the floor is out, they can see what's underneath there. If there's drainage, if there's things that need to be done, they can suggest backfill, what materials we should put in there, have the prisoners help with for the filling before the concrete's repoured again. That's up to 3 visits. They will not come if we don't think we need them for 3 visits. So that portion of it is an hourly compensation up to $2,600 for 3 visits, and that's to change plans and to do drawings. That's part of that amendment. And the second part is for them they're gonna have to rebid everything again, just like we did the first time we went out to bid. They put the plans out in the plan rooms. They printed out all the drawings and everything, gave us copies. That's part of a pre-bid meeting that they'll come down, talk to the contractors if they have any questions before they bid on it. That's pretty standard in these kind of contracts. So that portion is $3,300. So the total amendment is $5,900, up to $5,900. Hopefully we don't need them all 3 times, but I think you want to have that opportunity to have their professional opinion during the demolition. I think it's important to have that.
You have everything, Jack, you have everything marked so that when the prisoners come in, they don't
No.
demolish the wrong stuff?
No, that's what we're gonna have
That's
them.
what they're gonna do?
Yes, according to the drawings, those plans, a little foreign to me, so, yeah, we want them to
Okay.
be down, and they will do that. And our hopes is they'll say, these are the walls to be taken out, this is the floors to be taken out, prisoners come in for a week or so, get everything taken out, cleared out, we have them back, so they know what to change in the drawing, so when we go out to bid, and any suggestions, any professional opinions they have about putting sand, dirt, what we need to do for better drainage
Okay.
next time.
So Jack, the first of the 3 visits would then be for Shive to come here, mark the things to be demolished or taken out by the prisoners.
Yes,
Okay, good.
yeah, I think we want that.
Okay. Any other questions for Jack on this?
And the prisoners tentatively, we are scheduled for October 12th. I met with them last week, and we're gonna work out a few minor details with the committee. They really want one person down there throughout their time here to make it a little bit easier. I know we talked about a few different volunteers, but they really want to limit that to one contact person.
Okay.
So.
Then I need a motion to approve the resolution for amended Merchants Park Baseball Stadium renovation professional services agreement 2015 with Shive Hattery, Inc. for the amount not to exceed $5,900.
So moved.
Second. There is a motion and a second. Haley?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you very much. Our fourth resolution is the Carroll Recreation Center Weight Room and Gymnasium Project 2015. And Jack.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a report of the bid opening for the gymnasium, and the resolution is attached awarding the contractor on the bid. First of all, the funding sources, this is out of the current budget, 2015, 2016. General bond notes, we're bonding this project with a couple other projects, but the bond, we'll have out of that bond, we'll have $380,000 towards that. And then the shortfall, which was brought to your attention here about a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago, that there was some additional work that's going to need to be done with the ventilation in that room. So we anticipated that shortfall of being about $150,000. So that would come right out of the general fund to fund that shortfall. And then you have the opinion of cost that FEH gave us a few months ago. General construction at $267,120. Mechanical and electrical, $169,510. Then you have a contingency of 5%, $21,832. For a grand total of construction costs, $458,462, and the architectural fees, $40,125. And then the bids, we had 2 bidders at the time of the bid opening last week, Beatty Construction and Rotor Construction. They met all the specifications that were outlined in the bid as far as at least 5% of the bid bond. They acknowledged addendum 1. In their base bids, Beatty Construction $483,100, Rotor $563,000, and then the unit cost per cubic yard broke down accordingly, $36.60 and $50. Both had substantial completion of what we were asking for May 31st, 2016. And then attached, you do see Ron Speckman's recommendation of accepting the bid from Beatty Construction for the $483,100. And then rubber flooring was not included. We thought we could do that in-house a little bit cheaper than bidding that part out. So we would have to buy the matting, which we can buy locally, and our staff can install that part. And that is an estimate of $2,000. So looking for a motion to approve the bid from Beatty Construction of $483,100.
All right. Any other questions for Jack? I know we've had this for us a few different times at this point. I think we're anxious to see him start moving forward on the project, and I know I've had a lot of good comments from folks that are excited to see how it all comes together and get us more space and open up the thing with the windows and some of the view onto the basketball court. So all positive so far.
This puts that door to the north side, right?
Yes.
And the purpose for that door again was?
I think there's a couple purposes. If we want to go 24-hour fitness, that would be the entrance and exit. And my belief is because of the square foot and the number of people that can be in that area now, you need a second exit out of the building. You have the one that goes to the hallway. The one to the gym is not considered emergency exit because you have to go through another set of doors to get to the hallway. Where you have this north door, you're right out of the building.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. All right. Then with that, I need a motion to approve the City of Carroll to enter into a contract with Beatty Construction Carroll, Iowa for the construction of additions and alteration for Carroll Recreation Center weight room and gymnasium project in the amount of $483,100.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Cots?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Tate?
Yep.
Motion is approved.
Thank you very much. Our final resolution tonight is the Carroll Recreation Center indoor pool conceptual drawings proposal. And Jack.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, council had asked for a recommendation or a report on if there's possible leakage or problems with the pool basin that's currently there before any expansion or any additional work would be done. And from a recommendation from our engineer with the aquatics, the company American Leak Detection was one of the companies he recommended. Had a little trouble, took a little bit longer than I was hoping. One company that is affiliated with American Leak went out of business, so I tried a couple different people. Finally got this gentleman to come over and give that report to you, which we were pretty sure there wasn't, no leaking at, any major portion. We pretty much can tell that when we need to fill the pool maybe once, a couple inches, once, a couple times a month. So that's just evaporation. So we knew that there wasn't a major problem with that. But he inspected everything else. Everything seemed to be in good condition. There's a moderate amount of corrosion at the bottom of the drain piping, but nothing unusual. And to go underneath and to look at the pipe or anything else with that would have you drain the pool, cut it out. You don't want to do that. It's good because you're creating 4 new places for water to get out. You're taking that out. So overall, he said it's in a good condition for the age it is. So.
Okay.
Are you going to do some of those recommendations that they had suggested?
Yes. Yes.
Work on those.
Yeah, we will. The valves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been an idea of ours to do.
Anyway,
so
to do.
yes. Yep.
Okay.
That's a minor expense.
Right.
Minor. So.
Okay. Then with that, I think first off, we need a motion to accept the report from American Leak Detection.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Jensen?
Yes.
Tate?
Yeah.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, Jack, you want to take us right into the next one?
Yes, and then this was brought to you previously, and then we held off till we wanted the report. But again, this is to have Water's Edge do a conceptual drawing of the area. They'll have meetings. They'll meet with our city staff and some potential prominent people in the aquatic area to come up with some designs and ideas for you to consider if you want to do a indoor pool renovation, remodel of that. There will be some estimates of cost, but again, some of that when a conceptual drawing isn't as good as if you want a complete plan specification, form a contract, get a better estimate of cost then. But at least you'll have some ideas going forward if you want to go into a new budget with some budgetary figures and ideas with the pool renovation. As far as we've had many discussions, things that'll be talked about will be if there's a possibility to add additional areas for the swim teams, swimming programs at the high school, and our CAS swim team is increasing. There's more use, there's more competitive swimming down there, there's elite teams now. As far as what we see, we really struggle with things for kids under the age of 5 with parents to do. I think zero depth entry, some play features, additional slides are all things that we will look at. But we'll bring you back different ideas and things. You'll have a lot of input before the final drawings are done.
Would we be able to advertise would we be able to have like the Parks and Rec Cultural Board? Could we get something out to the Carroll Area Moms Group? Maybe some of the swim team, the boosters for that?
Yep.
And kind of just do kind of like we did with the Aquatic Center when we looked at the slides and things of that nature?
Yep.
Is that what he'll do
Yes.
in this?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
we'll actually get a pretty good cross-section then of people that are using the facility.
Yes.
Okay, and it'll be open
Yep.
up to a lot of folks.
Yep.
Very good. Okay. Any questions in addition for Jack on this one? Then I need a motion to approve the resolution for the Carroll Recreation Center Indoor Pool Conceptual Drawings Project with Water's Edge Aquatic Design in the amount of $7,200.
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Tate? Jensen?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Our final report is the snowplow purchase, and Randy.
Thank you. The current budget includes the amount of $10,000 for the replacement of a snowplow. We have requested and received proposals to purchase that snowplow. The proposal request was limited to a snowplow manufactured by Monroe Truck Equipment only. We did receive 2 proposals, one from Hawkeye Equipment at $79.95 and one from O'Halloran International at $87.94.50. Monroe Truck Equipment is also a vendor member nationally of the NJPA Purchasing Alliance. Their pricing was provided to us at $96.49 plus freight. So the low price was provided by Hawkeye Truck Equipment, and we're recommending the approval of the purchase of the snowplow from Hawkeye Truck after a bid price.
Okay.
What you putting this on, Randy?
One of our medium-duty trucks. It's a replacement snowplow.
All right. And then the old one goes to,
The old one, neither company had any interest in trade-in. Subsequent to that, Hawkeye did express a little interest, so we'll compare the level of their interest to what just scrap iron price is
okay,
to get rid of it.
sure, very good. All right. If there's no other questions, I need a motion to approve the purchase of a snowplow from Hawkeye Truck Equipment at their quoted price of $79.95.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Tate?
Yeah.
Cox?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you very much. Now we have a scheduled work session on the Corridor of Commerce tax increment financing. Laura, do you want to take us through this?
I'll actually let Randy start.
Randy, you want to take it?
Yes, I
First.
will.
Very
Thank
good.
you. Okay, we pulled together some information on the corridor of commerce, the future of the corridor, and the tax increment financing project for your consideration. Of course, the corridor, well, both projects actually, are included in the planning session report that was just recently approved. Continuous street improvements and Highway 30 and Grant Road improvements. The capital improvement program includes these projects of the US 30 and Grant Road intersection, which is proposed for tax increment financing, and then 4 corridor projects, 8 through 11, also proposed for tax increment financing. And of course, the current budget includes the initial funding for the 30 and Grant intersection, and then the Phase 8 of the streetscape. In an effort to kind of define those projects for you, of course, the US 30 and Grant Road intersection is pretty explanatory of where it is. Estimated cost currently is $1,450,000. That's a pretty general estimate because, primarily because of right-of-way unknowns as far as cost. We're at the point in plan preparation where the civil part of it, the construction part of it, is fairly definable as far as cost. Right-of-way this is an estimate. The right-of-way estimate is included in here. It's really unknown. Tentative schedule included construction in 2016. Now that can also be impacted by the way that right-of-way is negotiated. So that may be extended. Okay, then beginning on the streetscape projects, of course you have seen the Phase 8 project. It's currently under design by Confluence. And that design included 5th Street from West to Carroll, West Street from 5th to 7th, and Main Street from 4th to 5th. Okay, that's what's in the Confluence contract right now. I have included in this memorandum a couple of additional proposed segments of roadway to include in the streetscape. And one being the northeast access road. That's the road that runs along the easterly side of 7130 interchange from 10th Street to 15th Street. The property owners along that road have requested that it be included in streetscape project. And they're supportive of it. So in order to include that, it will take some separate actions that will follow this work session. Not tonight, but later. Estimated cost of that in the $400,000 range, real preliminary estimates again. Also proposing to include for tax increment financing Court Street resurfacing from 4th to 7th. That was originally proposed for our street resurfacing 2015 project, and it was taken out because of the total cost of that project. Now we're recommending that it be included for construction and financed with tax increment financing. It's eligible under the current urban renewal plan. And it's entirely, of course, your decision whether or not to do that.
And that's the streetscape's already been done. The reason that number is just as low as it is really it's just the grinding down of the existing asphalt and then a new overlay.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, got it.
There's a little bit of concrete work in it that we'll need to do, but it's minor. But
Okay.
yeah, the streetscape was substantially done. Actually, the punch list is being completed now on it, so that acceptance will follow at a future meeting.
Okay.
Moving on then through the next phases of the streetscape. Phase 9 is projected to include Clark Street from 4th to 7th and 5th Street from Court to Clark. Phase 10, 7th Street from West to Carroll and Main to Clark. And then the last phase to include US 30 from Highway 71 to West Street, and then from Clark Street to Grant Road. And the streetscape, the projection on that is, some cleanup work on the curbs, maybe mostly lighting, curb work, possibly sidewalk work in that. So though that is would cover the entire original master plan, the entire amended master plan for the streetscape projects. So 4 more contracts projected.
And ultimately, should we experience any issues, but ultimately, first of all, we need to kind of approve this as kind of our general guideline, have that in a working document for us and the public, but then if we get into US 30 and Grant Road and there's some additional costs, we have the decision that we can move back a streetscape or something along those lines to properly still utilize the TIF dollars as they come in, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The tax increment is, well, it's generated from the tax increment district, or the urban renewal district, and whatever the taxable valuation is in that district. Your use of it we've tried to generally use it on a pay-as-you-go basis, but in order to collect the tax increment, there has to be debt incurred first. So that debt incurrence has been through a loan from the water department, water utility fund, and that's been the debt instrument. Now, those debts and the construction of this can be structured in any method you desire. We've kind of generally set it up for like a 3-year payoff of these projects back to the water utility fund from tax increment collections. But though that payoff can be lengthened if necessary to do more projects currently, and then lengthen the payoff with the tax increment reimbursement, or continue on the course we've set so far, has worked okay too. But like I say, if any of these projects would overrun, the decision can be made to delay the construction of the next streetscape project or extend the debt to a longer payoff on the next streetscape project. So either could be done. There's a lot of flexibility in the way you've been doing it. And the way it's been executed so far is one way to do it.
I feel like so far in my experience has been, we're kind of reaching with a lot of these projects a certain threshold though that construction season allows with weather and time and mold and everything else, that there's kind of a certain level that we're going to get to where the project's only going to be able to be as big as it can be at that point. For us to say, well, we want to do a whole bunch of these all at once, it's not even going to really be possible.
Probably not. Probably wouldn't be. It's, streetscape work it's all handwork. I mean, there's nothing automated about it. It's, you dig it up by hand and you put it back by hand, basically. There's no paving machines or anything like that. And then, of course, the electrical, it's all trenching in conduit and pulling wire and putting in light poles. And so you're right, it would take a large contractor to be able to absorb more than one of these projects at a time. And we have been getting, pretty much local bidders. We've got 1 or 2 out-of-town bidders on this to keep it competitive as we've gone through this series of projects.
Okay.
But what our request, the reason we're bringing this forward now, for 2 reasons actually. If you want to include the Court Street and the Northeast Access Road, we'll get those included. Certainly further or additional action would be additional design contract work initially, and then that would lead to an eventual construction contract. Also, though, in order to include the Northeast Access Road, there's a series of actions needed to certify that debt, certify that to the county by the 1st of December. And those actions have to follow pretty quickly here, one after the other, and they'll all be brought to you in their time frame necessary to make this happen, if it's your desire to make it happen.
Well, I just know there's considerable investment that's been made now along from 10th to 15th Street, and it's one of the entry points to the community, one of the first things that folks see coming in on 71 and 30. So in the grand scheme of things, it certainly would make a lot of sense to me for us to look at that. I also know that the use of those properties and the clientele and the traffic patterns have changed dramatically over the last 15 or 20 years. So proper entrances and exits, and reducing the drive-up curb, and some of the larger traffic that might have used to maybe pull up there and park overnight is not very, I guess, good for the new folks that all own the properties along there. So I think that we'll clean up some things. We'll probably improve some safety along that side road, and in terms of how traffic patterns are moving. So I see this as being quite beneficial.
Hey Randy, that northeast access road, does that change the right of way a little bit? 'Cause I know that was been something we've been looking into and whatnot.
It is something we're still working with the DOT on, and actually, the ball is in the DOT's court. The northeast access road is currently within DOT right-of-way, completely, and they're reviewing that now. But if we would proceed with this project before that decision is made, we'd request permission or a permit to do work within their right-of-way on this.
And then the other question I have is the costs that you have listed in here through phase 11, are those based on like current figures? Is there any inflationary costs in those at all, or are those?
No, those would be current. Actually, the way those were created in, I think it was 2012, we had the revised master plan, and there was some work reduced from the original master plan, and there were some costs provided at that time. Well, subsequent to that time, we've had a contractor two, and the costs were quite a bit higher than those unit estimated costs in that revised master plan. So I revised all those revised master plan costs to more accurately reflect our current bidding numbers, and it increased them a lot. But that's the cost of that business. You know, if we want streetscape, that's the cost of streetscape.
I think it's really exciting to kind of see on this. 6 years ago we were a few projects back. Now we're starting to see the final phase. I mean, so you kind of know
Yep.
that you're reaching kind of the end of really being able to accomplish the whole vision for the community that was set out over 10 years ago. That's pretty exciting.
Cleaned it all up significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in your 5-year program, the one you approved during budget time early this year was the first one that had finally included the last phase, the streetscape. So the future 5-year programs will begin counting down those phases. So.
There's been considerable reinvestment on storefronts and businesses and new buildings and things of that nature all the way along. So I think we see it being put to work. Are there, as this is a work session, so we're not looking for any decisions or motions or anything this evening, but is there anything else that the council has with respect to questions for Randy? If there's any other information that we need to gather for he and Laura, I guess those would be the things that we're looking to know tonight. Otherwise, I would like to kind of at least have a consensus that they should move forward with the plans. I know there is a timeline, approximately November, December here, that we need to have some of this certified and moving forward in order for them to do their thing. We've got, of course, public hearings and or other meetings anyway that have to be scheduled in order to accomplish this. So tonight I just look for a consensus.
I guess, looking at the rest of the downtown streetscapes, I don't have no issue with. The US 30 and grant though, do we have to wait for a DOT decision? Do we have to wait anything in them, or can we go ahead and proceed on as though that's going to occur?
Yeah, it will occur as long as you hold the course. Right now, the status of the project is, of course, our contractor, Snyder and Associates, has completed the preliminary plans, and they have been submitted, it's required to be submitted and approved by the DOT. And so they are in the hands of the DOT right now for their review. And whatever review comments they have will have to be incorporated back into those plans. Then in general terms, the next few steps, once those preliminary plans are reviewed by the DOT, there will be a meeting of all of the property owners affected by the project. That's a mandatory meeting, and they'll be invited to attend that public meeting. And the right-of-way basically will be discussed with them. Then, following that meeting, right-of-way negotiations can begin. And there will be negotiations for any parcels of right-of-way needed. And of course, whatever those negotiations, however they eventually come out, will have an impact on the construction schedule. Because we'll be ready for final plans, to prepare final plans, as soon as the DOT comments are received. But it's, at this point, it's the right-of-way that really will dictate the schedule of the project. And it certainly will be negotiated as quickly as practical. But it's as far as whatever those, however those negotiations end up, as far as timeframes.
Because when I look at those other four, basically, we can control that one. It's the one with the DOT that, but we can get all the financing set up front ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of the other street rehab that we're doing in town that isn't part of the TIF, are we able to, one, find contractors to do all that stuff and maintain? Because this is a pretty aggressive schedule for next year, between that and just everything else that we've got laid on in the future.
Yeah, you're right. As far as our street resurfacing project that's currently under design for next year, I have bounced it off a couple of contractors that are pretty interested in it. So hopefully, you know, we'll have that, and of course that's federal aid, so we kind of have to stay on that schedule. But then the year after next, we have another federal aid project. And once again, we're tied into a federal aid schedule. And that's, the combination of those two is another reason that I recommended including Court Street in the tax increment financing. Otherwise, Court Street's going to be pushed back till after those next two street resurfacing projects, you know, another couple of years, because they are going to consume all of the funding that you've allocated for street resurfacing between the High Ridge Road project and then the following federal aid project on 3rd Street. So that's, you know, throwing it out there. If we want to wait another 2 years and put in a regular street project, that would be the alternative. Otherwise, it is eligible for tax increment. It's just another way to fund it. So.
Okay. Any other questions for Randy? Any other thoughts in the work session? All right. I'll take this as a consensus to move forward, and we'll have Laura and Randy bring us back the things that we need to do and in the order that we need to, and we'll proceed as planned going into budget. Very good.
Good.
I trust everyone has read the committee reports as well as the monthly activity reports. The mayor would just like to once again thank the businesses and chamber for your support to the Carroll Young Professionals, the 2015 Connecting YP Conference hosted here this last week. We had almost 100 YPs from all over the state and Carroll and touring Carroll County, and we had great comments and compliments on the event. I'll be traveling Wednesday through Sunday of this next week. I'd encourage anyone to get out and enjoy Band Day this Saturday, October 3rd. And we thank the Chamber and the many volunteers involved in making this event possible each year. I also once again want to recognize City Week this week. Hopefully folks might recognize our wonderful dedicated city staff for the work that they do in keeping our parks cleaned and maintained, our streets in good repair and snow removed, one of the safest communities in the state, responsive to property development and fire protection, and keeping our water running and our toilets flushing. This Saturday, October 3rd, I also believe there is going to be a rededication of the monument in the Carroll Cemetery about 1 p.m. In the final year of the sesquicentennial of the Civil War to commemorate the Boys in Blue. This event is being conducted all over the state by the Sons of the Union veterans of the Civil War. And it is open to the public, and I hope everybody's able to attend. Like I said, unfortunately, I'll be traveling. We will be working to bring forward additional work sessions from topics discussed in our planning session, and I look forward to any council feedback as we move forward. Any comments from city council members this evening? Then I'd look for a motion.
So moved to adjourn?
Second.
Haley?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Pate? Cox?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
We are adjourned.